Hello makers, and welcome back to Spectiva Studios. Thank you so much for being here. Now, a few weeks ago, I released a video. Actually, I released this video right here. And as I often do, I set these things up a few weeks in advance. I get them in the queue, and on that Friday morning, the video went live, and you folks get an opportunity to look at it and comment on it and like it and all the fun things that YouTubers love to have happen. Except something really weird happened with this video. And that is, probably somebody shared it with somebody else, who shared it with somebody else, who shared it with somebody else, and YouTube looked at that and said, wow, people really like this video. Let's show it to a lot more people. And by the way, my channels, when I release a video within the first week, I can expect maybe between 200 and 300 views, which I'm not complaining about at all. It gives me an opportunity to get my message in front of people who matter most to me, people just like you, who are interested in DIY crafts and art creation, and just being able to think and learn by doing things a little bit differently. So very excited to be able to have my 200 to 300 views. Well, as of this morning, this video has hit 22,000 views. Now for me, that is a big deal. Now let me just address this for a second. When I started my YouTube channel 2.5 years ago, I did so for a few reasons. One, I had just been laid off from my job and had some free time. So I was saying, you know, what can I do with this? What can I do with my time? What can I do to help other people in their art journeys? And so for me, really, it's been the motivation of being able to get my message in front of people like you. It really has never been about making money as a YouTuber or anything else. It's nice. It comes in a little bit, you know, maybe a couple $100s per quarter. I'll be honest, I'm not crushing it when it comes to the money I make as a YouTuber. But it does motivate me to be able to share content with folks like you. And the biggest paycheck I get is your feedback. When you respond to things that I do, even if it's to say, hey, that was really cool, thank you so much, I learned something, that's the big thing for me. So regarding the video that went viral, a couple of things. You guys, by the way, there's so many great responses. I've just spent a lot of time answering people's responses. So happy to be able to have that. And one of the things that came up very quite often, what a lot of people say, well, you know, when you have a compass like that, it makes more sense to be able to turn the paper and hold the compass in one place to get a good cut. And you know what? I don't disagree with that at all, except when you're working with a much larger format piece of paper. And oftentimes I'm working with my 18 by 24 inch paper, and it'd just be impractical to try to turn the entire sheet. However, if I'm working on a small piece and trying to cut out a perfect circle, then 100% that works out really well. Now, another comment was, hey, it looks great when you're working on wrapping paper, which is what I was just using because it was cheap and plentiful. But what I also realized is that it makes it look like it's only working on very thin pieces of paper. And the truth of the matter is if you go and work on a thicker piece, like I'm working with 140-pound watercolor paper most often, you might have to go around that 2 or 3 times to get the blade all the way through the process. But it will go through, and it works out really fine. So a lot of it is just patience and, you know, again, turning your paper or staying within the lines that you've already cut, but you're going to get that nice clean circle if you stick with it. Now, there was another question that asked, okay, can you use this process to cut out things like aluminum from, say, an aluminum can? Well, I said, I don't know. So I went and cut up aluminum can, and I got a nice sheet of aluminum to work with, and the answer is not for me. I tried a few different times, and while I can get a nice crease and an indentation, I couldn't get the blade to cut all the way through the aluminum. So I'm going to say that's a fail. At least the way I was trying it was not working out very well. It was going to make a very ragged hole regardless. But regardless of all of these things, and some great questions you guys had, again, my thanks to you for being part of this entire adventure and journey, and for being part of the Mixed Media Masters organization, right? The people we bring together to share these things with. Thank you for being a subscriber. Thanks for being part of what we do here every week. And yeah, I can't thank you enough for being part of this exploration and this journey, and I'm glad you're getting something out of it. Anyway, that's all I have for you this week. It's a short one, but it's a heartfelt one, and I'm grateful to be able to deliver this message to you. Anyway, I'm Spider. I'll see you next time.